Hey guys, today I'm going to share a secret with you, the secret of all the stuff that I like to use in my bars. Secrets today on how to drink. Let's talk about it. Today is all about the gear in the bar, and to kick that off, I would like to have a drink in my hand, and maybe this is something we do, anything we do, something that's just cocktail adjacent or not focused on recipes. I had a crazy idea. As I was walking in here to the old How to Drink bar, I grabbed a very random bottle of bourbon that I have very little use for. Nothing wrong with this bourbon. I thought it was one of my top picks for super cheap bottom shelf bourbons. I think it's like $14 or $12 a bottle when I bought it or whatever, and it's a liter too. And I thought I will just make up a cocktail right now that I've never had before. I had an idea and a hankering for something that was like a variation on Trinidad Sour. See if this is any good. I don't know whether it is or isn't. I'm not going to workshop it. I'm going to be stuck with it. And then we're going to get on with the stuff review. However, making a cocktail does give me an opportunity to talk about the tools I like to use. So, for example, these are a set of brand new Corico shakers. These are the weighted tins that they sell at Cocktail Kingdom. They're going to come up a lot on this episode because Cocktail Kingdom makes really just the best bartending equipment I've ever seen. Not that they're the only place that makes quality bartending gear. We're going to talk about that. They just make the best. I bought this 7 or 8 years ago. This is the weighted tin cocktail shakers that are, they're Corico branded. I don't think there's anybody else who distributes them other than Cocktail Kingdom. Has the design changed over the years? A little. If you'll notice, although they're both the same size, they do seat differently, so this one sinks in a little bit lower. The metal seems to be the same. The weighting may have slightly changed, particularly on the short tin. I don't think that's a big deal. In fact, I think that it's easier for these things to be too heavy than too light, but you do want a little bit of weighting on them. You want a good flex, but not too rigid. Other brands I've tried, and I'll talk about them in a minute, are too rigid. These have a nice flex. The flexibility is what causes a good seal. As far as wear and tear goes, like I said, I've made hundreds and hundreds, thousands of cocktails on the two sets of these that I started. I had them before the show started. So what, I don't know, 8 years I've had these. Nothing wrong with them at all. The one issue with cheaply made weighted tins is that sometimes the welds on these guys on the bottom here can fail. And then you lose that, or water gets underneath there, and then that's an issue too. Anyway, I'm gonna break in this brand new shaker on this one right now. So I don't know, I think I'm gonna start with a little lime juice. All right, we're gonna cut this lime with my brand new knife. I'll talk about that in a second. And it is the sharpest knife I've ever owned in my friggin' life. I can't believe how sharp it is. Juice a lime here, and away she goes. 1 ounce of lime juice in this drink that I'm making up on the fly. I'm going to do, I don't know, yeah, like 1.5 ounces of this bourbon. 1/2 ounce of Angostura bitters. So I did 1/2 ounce of Angostura bitters. I want to do 1/2 ounce of Luxardo Maraschino. You know, this drink normally calls for orgeat. I'm gonna swap out for that there. That's gonna be one of our sweeteners. We're gonna also do I'll also throw 1/2 ounce simple. This is actually, now I'm realizing it, it's a variation on a Trinidad Sour, but also it's a variation on a Last Word. It turns out that a lot of my drinks work out that way. 1/2 ounce of simple, as I ignore the handle that so conveniently exists on here. I'm gonna do an absinthe rinse for this drink because I don't have any chartreuse. They're totally different ideas. They do different things. I'm on a real chartreuse kick. The chartreuse is not within reach, and flying by the seat of my pants. There we go, just enough in there. Absinthe that I'm using is La Mousse Verte. It comes in this extra black bottle because this is like supernatural, apparently. Supernatural. It's from the nether realms, but it's more likely to lose its color due to UV or light hitting it than apparently other bottles of absinthe. So they put it in a super dark bottle. Roll that around in there, get all that nice and coated. I think we did a perfect pour. I don't think there's anything to drip. We're gonna shake this up. One goes in, one gets cracked. Maiden voyage for this new shaker. Seats well. And some absinthe did pool up in there. I don't really want that. Let's get the rest of that out. Maiden voyage for this guy. A little dusty. I'll do a twist of orange. Okay, and this is the drink we just invented. It doesn't even have a name yet. I love that. That's delicious, fantastic, and wonderful. Oh yeah. It is bitter and balanced sweet. You get some of the caramel notes of the bourbon. It's not a particularly complex bourbon. Honestly, it's the perfect kind of drink to put it into because this drink has a lot of other flavors. The lime, sweet, and Ango really love each other in ways that few things do. Bourbon brings a kind of caramel, burnt sugar coloring to the sweetness that's there. The absinthe, always great for a late arriving flavor in a cocktail. As those volumes come down, it brings in this lovely licorice flavor. If you don't like licorice, and I mean dark licorice. No, red licorice isn't licorice, just so we're clear. It's not. Those are like Caranuba fruited twists. I don't know what you want to call them. Licorice is a root and it tastes like black licorice. So if you like licorice, if you like fennel, the absinthe brings that. And then the actual last note on that is that touch of the orange from the twist, which is funny because that's usually the first note on any drink with a twist. In this case, it comes late. And that's because the bitters and everything is so loud. That's a lot of evolution. That's a drink. I stand by that drink. That's a great drink. What do we call it? I'm going to call it a Bourbonista. I don't know why, but that's what I've named it. It's a Bourbonista. Oh, and the Maraschino, of course. Yeah, I forgot about the Maraschino. Oh, I'm going to save this because there's a little bit more Bourbonista in there. Hold on. Yeah, we'll just finish that sucker off. Hey, Meredith, do you have a perfect diet?
Oh, hell no.
That's why there's Ritual. It's a multivitamin for people like you and me who have holes in our diet that need to be filled for these wonderful macronutrients that are so important, I'm told, to a healthy lifestyle. Because if there's one thing you know about me, it's that I'm about clean and healthy living. In all seriousness, though, a lot of people take a multivitamin to kind of fill in the gaps nutrient-wise in their diet, and I've been known to as well. Ritual is just such a multivitamin. And the best thing about Ritual is that it comes straight to your house. You can just get on a subscription and it'll keep showing up. That's great. Makes it a ritual, a morning ritual for you to stick to your rituals. This has got 10 quality nutrients like vitamin A, vitamin D, omega-3, zinc. Of course, my bottle here is everyday for men, but they do also offer different formulations for women, for older people, for the people, for all the people, for all of the people. Ritual is for all the people. Ritual prides themselves on being really transparent about the environmental impact of how they source their ingredients and the shipping. If you go to their website, you will see evidence of that transparency right before your very eyes. Would you look at that? Ritual is now offering 20% off if you go to ritual.com/howtodrink20 and use code howtodrink20 at checkout. That's 20% off, hence howtodrink20, your first month of Ritual. Now I'm going to ritualistically take my ritual. Deus Domine, it's a ritual. All right, Ritual, thanks for sponsoring this episode, and now I'm going to send the rest of you all back to the show. Anyway, now that we've got today's drink out of the way, I want to talk about the tools I used to make it. So again, as I was saying, this is a weighted tin Corico shaker. Other brands make shakers. Barfly makes shakers. They're fine. Barfly makes a large line of products. They have stuff that's all over the place, and I think a lot of it is made by different manufacturers. Some of their shakers I like better than others. Their shakers tend to all have, though, much thicker walled steel. It's much less flexible. And I want to say, too, I think Barfly makes fine stuff. They're a little bit cheaper than the stuff from Corico, so that might be a factor in your decision making. And for their price point, I don't think anybody can beat them. If you want the best stuff, just like it can't be beat, I go with Corico. I go with Cocktail Kingdom. Corico comes from Cocktail Kingdom. I don't think it's that much more, although prices always fluctuate, right? So, like, I know right now, at this particular moment, reusable stainless steel drinking straws at Cocktail Kingdom are, like, unconscionably expensive, so I couldn't pick up any new ones for the show. And part of this, by the way, this episode, I've been kicking around the same bar tools for 7 or 8 years, and I decided I should just get more of the stuff I really love using rather than find myself periodically with it being in the dishwasher or something. So anyway, I really like these Corico shakers. I don't think you can go wrong. I think if you know somebody, or if you yourself are building out a home bar, or you know somebody who is and you want to get a gift for them, can't be beat. Really good. You can buy them small and large individually. I'm not entirely sure why you'd want to do that, but they do come as a kit. All right, so, and this is really the bar shaker to use. There is like other bar shakers out there. You might be tempted to buy something like this kit. I haven't even opened this. I already hate what I'm seeing come out of here. This is a nice little, no it's not. It's a kit that comes with a shaker and kind of a hokey-jokey jigger and this and a lid, and I guess that's like a spare gasket for the lid. It's a gasket lid. Don't get a shaker that's got a gasket. Already this is bad. And a very, very short bar spoon. Meredith ordered this because she thought, we've done shaker review previously in the anti-gift guide. So if you want that kind of stuff. But Meredith wanted to point out, here's a shaker that's got these common recipes that you can twist on. Believe it or not, this was the style of shaker I had first, way back before I really got into cocktails. But this was the first shaker I had. Something like this that did that twist. Yeah, oh man, get rid of that. That's a piece of junk. So the first thing, I mean, it's gonna explode all over me. This gasket seal is bad. You don't ever want a gasket on a shaker. This is a Bluss Smart, it's called. It's a total novelty shaker. Like, this is a shaker for somebody who's gonna put their shaker on a shelf and never use it. The gasket stinks, I hate it. It's not necessary. Even without being cold, that top was too tight. That's the main issue with these cobblers, is that they become locked from the coldness. When you shake a drink, the air gets colder inside it. Cold air is denser than warm air. That cold air shrinks and creates a vacuum, pulls it all together. Once you do that with one of these, they are like unbreakable. They become super duper tight. And if it's tight to begin with, forget it. Like, I already know this is a garbage thing. This jigger, I don't even know what these measurements are. It doesn't say, it's just big and small. They look very small to me. So listen, this is garbage. Don't buy this for anybody. All right, just leave it alone. We don't need that. This is the standard Corco style strainer. It has a great kind of polished finish. It has a very tight spring. So 7 or 8 years ago, when I first started getting into bartending or mixing drinks, that was really hard to find. And actually now it's just the opposite is true. It's really hard to find a strainer that doesn't have that. But you want a really tight spring. It used to be the thing that I would do is I would take a pair of the cheaper strainers and I would pull the spring off of one and double spring my strainer and throw away the other. That's no longer necessary. You don't have to do that anymore. Any strainer that has a really nice tight spring should be fine. My one complaint about some other strainers that I don't have on set is that should be possible. You should be able to take that right off. There should be like an opening there on the rail that holds the spring so that you can wash it better. Usually they're like novelty strainers, stuff that looks like Star Wars characters or whatever, where the spring is unremovable. I don't love that. It's not my favorite. This is the comparable barfly strainer. The spring is a little tighter, not that that really matters too much, in that like it's a thicker kind of gauge of steel. This one's much more flexible. This one's got a little bit more spring to it. Otherwise, they're just about identical. This one has a larger flat area, so it can accommodate more sizes of vessels, different hole pattern. It really doesn't matter. I think that in theory, this hole pattern is built for something called a split pour, so that you can fill 2 drinks at once. I am not talented enough to reliably do that. Only issue for me on this one, and now that I'm looking at them comparably, I can see why that's an issue, is that the distance between this, and that's a place to put your finger, by the way, and these holes is larger here and smaller here. Sometimes when I'm using this strainer and I'm quickly and aggressively pouring, I will screw up and I'll have some drink come out of this hole. Oops, that drink is no longer, there's ice chips in that because the ice isn't, that's what the purpose of this for, is to keep the ice in the shaker. This extra distance gives you a little bit more to play with on that. So I don't know, it's up to you. I also like that this is a lighter one. This one's kind of like the same thing with a lot of the stuff from Barflies, it's heavy. I also, and by the way, in case you're wondering, there is my very first and original strainer from Cocktail Kingdom. It is a little bit more narrow, so they've modified it over time. I see now this one has a stamp on it that says it's patented, so maybe that's like an earlier design before they got a patent. I wanted to show you this too. This is called a double prong strainer. It's the same style, it's the same like Corco strainer. These, and I've never had one before, these are definitely for doing a double pour. So the 2 prongs are to use surface tension to guide your drink in that direction. Maybe useful, maybe not. They have the same spring on them, same removable thing. I love these. These are great. There's nothing wrong with them. I have to say that these days, it's much less critical that you buy the top of the line strainer because, as I was pointing out, like a lot of the main issue is the spring, how many coils per inch the spring has, and pretty much every modern decent strainer has good ones, has a good ratio there. The other kind of strainer, a julep strainer, you actually don't need one. If you're really just starting out, this is sort of a flamboyance that you don't require at all. They're for stirred drinks primarily. That said, a Hawthorne strainer, which is what the style with the spring on it is called, strains a stirred drink just as well as it strains a shaken drink. So if you're gonna only have one, get that. This is not so useful for shaken drinks, although I suppose you could use it for it. It's just like slow. It takes a little bit more like finesse and hand strength to use because it doesn't have a spring. I want to talk about one thing here about finish and material. All of the bar tools that I love are stainless steel. They just are. They hold up really good. I don't like plated bar tools. I'm going to show you why in a minute. Yeah, I just really like stainless steel. It looks good. It's hypoallergenic maybe. I don't know if that's true or not, but it cleans up really easy. And at any rate, any of the colored or plated bar tools are probably stainless steel plated, although since you can't see what's underneath the plating, they might not be. So I would just stick with stainless steel. If you really want other colors, go for it. You should be aware, and this is a perfect example of that, that those colors are going to come off over time, okay? So this is a gold-plated jigger from Barfly that you've seen on the show a bunch, and I hope that the color is showing up here. It's been through the washing machine. Should it have gone in the washing machine? Probably not, but if you notice, there's like an ombre forming where the gold is at the bottom. At the top, we have lost that. It's turning silver anyway, so you can see this color shift, right? So that gold is gonna just keep coming off over time, and on a shaker, it's even worse. Because on a shaker, you have those points of contact, they're gonna get each other off. That thing right there, that's not even from contact, right? So that's just over time, oxidation, washing, you know, polishing, whatever. And I'm a buy it for life guy. I hate throwing things away or buying something that has to be replaced. It drives me crazy. Here's another one. This is a Barfly stepped jigger. That's what this is called, by the way, a stepped jigger. It's copper. I don't think I've ever used it. Maybe a couple of times I've used it. The copper, I do find, tends to come off even faster than the gold or something like that. I have a few that I've acquired just come my way that are like gunmetal black. I don't know, but I would imagine that comes off pretty quick too. So basically, there are both, in my opinion, 3 basic styles of jigger. You've got your Japanese style jigger, which I'm gonna pull that out in a second. You've got your coupe style or Leopold style jigger, and you've got your stepped jigger. Those come either without a handle or not. So I'm gonna show you guys something here real quick. I'm just gonna open this up because this is a brand new Japanese style jigger. Let's just take this out of its compartment, of its container. And there's your Japanese style jigger. Now, right away, you're gonna notice there's a height difference between these guys. This one's tall, this one's short. Some people have called me out. They said, oh, I saw a comment that was like, oh, I miss when Greg used this style jigger because he spilled more. That's not why I stopped using it, actually. I do like that style of jigger. It looks super classy to me. I could never decide if I was better off holding it in my palm or over the back of my hand, I don't know. I switched to these because this was dirty one day. And I grabbed one of these at random and I was like, shit, I kind of like that a lot. So honestly, it's a very functional design. You've got a handle, you could ignore the handle. It's got very clear markings inside of it. Really like it. Early days, I was using a Japanese style jigger. They're really cool. They're lovely, but they are specifically kind of reminiscent of and call back to Japanese bartending, which is a phenomenal style of bartending. It is a specific style of bartending. There's specific tools that like there's a ritual about it that I don't think Western bartending really, it's weird to separate it that way. I don't disagree. If you're thinking to yourself, that's weird, why would you say that? But it is. I don't think anybody would deny Japanese bartenders that there is a different approach. You know, there's just a different way of doing things than there is here. They really focus on highballs too. Whiskey highballs are huge from what I understand. So what I love about this is that it's short, and I'm gonna show you why. If I have to pour here, 2 ounces, okay? And let's just do this as an imaginary pour. We don't need to simulate it. Look at the distance already between the top of this lip and the lip of this glass, right? Now if I come up into my hand and I have to pour, I have found that on a lot of pours with a really tall bar jigger, especially if I'm pouring into a glass, I end up having to come up much higher than I really want to. And if there's ice in there already, which maybe there shouldn't be, but often there is, it will have a tendency to splash back out from the force. This, you know, it makes it much easier to just come right up the side of the glass and over. I really like that. This also can do that as well. The reason that I kind of fell out of love with this is because it's heavy. And it's not about it making my arm tired, because it is still not very heavy. It's just heavy enough that if you drop it, it will nick itself around the rim. It won't deform it, but you'll get cuts in the metal. And that's what's happened to this one. And I stopped using it primarily, other than the fact that it was dirty one day, because all those little nicks, no matter what I do, by the time I've got my camera rolling, there's like a feather or a hair or some kind of a clothing fiber has found its way in there. And in these close-ups, it looks like crap. I like these. I don't love them quite as much. I like them all. They all do the job. I just have developed a real preference for this style right here. It does have a little heft to it. It's a little bit weightier. Cocktail Kingdom now has a series of products called Heavyweight. I wish I had some to review, but they were all sold out when I was buying new bar gear for the first time in 7 or 8 years. And now I need another sip of this little Bourbonista. Why don't you make one of these? Right after this, I'm going to talk about knives, spoons, peelers, and graters. And then we're going to keep going because there's a lot more to get through in this episode. So stay with me. So we're back. Let me talk about spoons for a second. This is a bar spoon. It's a 40 centimeter bar spoon from Cocktail Kingdom. This is the very first bar spoon I ever bought, and it came from Cocktail Kingdom, I think. Oh no, this one's a Barfly. I apologize. This is a Barfly bar spoon. This is a Cocktail Kingdom bar spoon. You will see that they're very, very nearly identical. The main difference between these two is how many twists are in the handle. Those aren't really just there for show. They are there to help you as you're stirring, right? They give you a place that your finger can kind of create a little bit of friction on, because when you stir, you want to keep your spoon bowl facing the inside, and having that texture there makes that a lot easier. And it doesn't terribly matter if it's tight or not, it should work for you. Barspoons used to be a looser coil than this, or twist, looser twist. This particular barfly spoon is very nice. It isn't gonna bend. The issue is, you know, there are welds, even though they're polished out, there's a weld here and a weld here. And these are teardrop style, it's called, which is what that is. And it's not for cracking your ice. It's an ornament. It's not for cracking your, it's a counterweight, but it's definitely not for cracking your ice. In fact, the bar spoon is much better for cracking your ice, and I'll talk about that why in a minute if you want to crack your ice. This particular spoon from Barfly is great. I have had other bar spoons from Barfly that are not so great. There's one that has like a spoon on the end. Typically, I find with those that the weld here is thin and weak, and this will easily bend. This is rock solid. This one is really rock solid. Like I said, Barfly, great company, lower price point than the Cocktail Kingdom, no question, and if that's what you're looking for, it's great. Nothing there is going to really, truly disappoint you. But they have a lot of different lines. I think that they have a lot of different sub-producers. Some of those lines are of varying quality, and honestly, to go through every single product line from Barfly is just not the scope of this of any video. It's crazy. It would be very, very niche. Nobody would watch that video. This one, Cocktail Kingdom, you'll notice absolutely rock solid welds. So this is one of the spoons from Barfly that I'm not happy with. And I should tell you guys, I don't want to shit on Barfly here at all. I'm just saying that they are a little less consistent. I've done work with Barfly. We have promoted Barfly products. I stand by them in that they are a great product for the price point. I'm just saying if you want to spend a couple more bucks, you can have stuff that is a phenomenal product. I don't particularly love this bar spoon because the weld is very weak. Now, if you wanted to make a bar spoon that you used for deep layering, that weak weld might be great for you, right? So you can reach all the way down there and create a break for your pores to do different layers at different depths. And I'm only just now thinking about that. But the welds are weak on both ends and very little effort to bend those. The shaft is fine, right? It's just the welds here and here that are weak. Does that matter to you? That's for you to decide. I actually don't know the difference in cost between this and one from Cocktail Kingdom. It might not matter at all. I don't know, you know, if you're not getting into bar spoon fights, maybe it doesn't matter. You know, I'm just saying, if you're looking for, you know, the pinnacle, I consider this to be more the pinnacle. So anyway, this is a great bar spoon. That's 40 centimeters, by the way. I like, they also sell them in 30. Previously, they used to sell them in 60, like just absolutely outrageously flamboyantly long bar spoons. Those are good too. I got, you know, whatever. I don't know what they still do. There's primarily 3 tops that you can get for these, for bar spoons in general. I'm gonna talk about a 4th now, actually, that occurs to me. But the teardrop, which I like because it's very simple. It is very, it's just a counterweight. It just helps me do my work. There's also something called a trident. I've been told that, nope, you're not supposed to use it for that, for picking out garnishes. Nope, it's not for that apparently. It's supposed to just flash in the air and spin beautifully and sparkle and all that stuff. Then there's that spoon style that you just saw. Same thing, it's just with a flash in the air and sparkle and all that kind of stuff. I do want to talk about ice cracking. People always talk about ice cracking, or I always talk about ice cracking on this show. I'm gonna grab 2 ice cubes, you're gonna see what I'm talking about. So watch what happens when I try to crack with this side, and I'm gonna explain the physics of this in a minute. What I try to do, by the way, is you put your ice here, hold your hand level, flick here, right? Oh, nothing. Oh, nothing. Maybe a little crack. Okay, we're getting some crackage now. We're just getting single planes of cracking, and a lot of times you get nothing, right? Like that was terrible. Why? Well, it's because instead of having a bowl, a parabellum, has a natural tendency, it creates like a ball peen, right? It puts all the force into a very tiny circle if you use it the right way. This is flat and like a cylinder along one side, and it's gonna take that force and distribute it across a broader area. It does less damage to the ice. If I hit this at about that angle with just a fairly sturdy but not ridiculous tap, right? 1, 2, look at that. You already see spider webs of cracks in that ice. That's what we want to see, right? And then a couple taps on the opposite side and a tap here. Look at that, it's chipping off into these beautiful crumbles of ice. Just immediately explodes. That's the physics of it. You want that bowl. You don't, because people, I only bring that because people say, oh, that's for cracking ice. It is not for cracking ice. So these are the spoons that I like. There is a 3rd type of spoon that doesn't have a teardrop or a spoon top. or a Trident top. It has a muddler top, which is what they call this little flat disc. You can't muddle with this. This is a terrible muddler. I don't know if you're really supposed to muddle with it or not. Don't muddle with it. It's a piece of garbage. The other problem with this spoon is it's much too short. The balance point is up here past where the spoon is, right? Like it's off balance even there. That's really the thing, is you want to find a spoon that has a balance point that's close to where your hand is going to be, or just below it, right? So this spoon, I can balance it, got that good counterweight on top, right? And that makes it a lot easier to work. If you're there, you can get a good rhythm with it. This spoon, where's its balance point? Look at that. You got to work. That's not good. This is the new one from Cocktail Kingdom. Don't let me down, baby. Center of the shaft, right? Just about. That's where you want it to be, right in the middle. So a 40 centimeter bar spoon is right for me. They make them longer, they used to anyway, 60 centimeters. The balance point's gonna move, might be better for you. It kind of depends actually on how high your work surface is. If you had a lower work surface, like this is pretty high. This is pretty high, I think it's 43 inches or whatever. I built it specifically to be just below my elbows, so that my elbows are just slightly higher than the bar. I don't know if you can see that or not, at a natural cadence, right? That is just right for me, you know, because you want to hold your elbow pretty close to 90 or just above it. Perfect for me to stir. If you had a kitchen table much lower and you're standing at it to make drinks, maybe you want a 60 centimeter or something bar spoon to reach down to that so you don't destroy your back. I am on a quest to raise the kitchen sinks. I'm on a quest to do that. The kitchen sinks are too low. When I wash the dishes in the sink, it is just the right angle to ruin my shoulders and upper back. I hate it. I want a kitchen sink that's on an adjustable height. I want a standing desk kitchen sink. So this bar spoon is garbage. We're gonna get rid of it. We don't need it. So that's bar spoons. That is Jiggers. What else are we gonna talk about? Knives. I only just bought this knife. I just bought it because I'm always stealing knives from the kitchen to use on the show. This is a knife from Cocktail Kingdom. This thing's insane. I cannot get over how sharp this is. I think I paid 40 bucks for it or $45 for it. It is a precision instrument. It's a scalpel. And also it has like that samurai style hand polished edge. So it might be a lot more knife than I paid for. I really don't know. But a dedicated knife for your bartending is not a bad thing to have. There's other like dedicated knives that have like a little pick on the end and stuff like that. They're fine. It's a nice thing to have. If there's somebody who wants to get into mixology in your life, maybe consider that as a gift, because it's also, since knives already exist in the house, it's sort of the frivolity that somebody doesn't buy for themselves. I think that's, by the way, the perfect mark of a gift. It should be something that is a little bit frivolous so that that person probably wouldn't spend the money on their own. Let's see if we can slice it. No, I don't know how to do that though. That's like, there's an art to that.
Yeah.
I mean, it sat on it, you know, and it'll go right through without any pressure at all. It's ridiculously sharp. Oh, there is one other knife I want to talk about. It's my favorite knife from Barfly. This is the Barfly ice knife. I don't know if anybody else makes ice knives. This is actually the first product of theirs I ever saw. Got this really thick blade, so it also works as an ice pick. And it's got this like kind of cambered edge on it that allows you to carve ice with tremendous ease. My ice sometimes freezes together. Look at that, I chipped it right away. And if I wanted to carve this, I just put my thumb here. Look at this. And I mean, it might dull, but it won't like meaningfully dull, because this work probably doesn't require the sharpest kind of knife. It's more about having that correct angle and sort of the rigidity and thickness of the blade. I'm not very good at that. I haven't really practiced a lot of ice carving, but yeah, it's a pretty neat thing. The only issue I have with this knife is that some of these I've had a few of them because I've worked with them and they've sent me them in the mail, is that there's a tang in here and that they can slip out. The solution is to soak it in the water, just bury it in water and let it soak for a few days, and the wood will swell up and then it'll hold on. Or you could put some epoxy in there if you wanted to, I don't know. Again, I don't know if anybody else makes that. Like Cocktail Kingdom has all kinds of fancy picks and stuff for working with ice. I don't work with big blocks of ice, I work with those guys. If you had like big, you know, carving blocks, you need all those picks and wedges and all that stuff to make smaller blocks. Other things that you need in the bar, let's just get through these really quickly. A grater, microplane is fine. This is perfect. What do you use that for? Oh, zesting. Use it for zesting an orange or a citrus peel.
Nutmeg.
Use it for nutmeg, whatever. A grater is a handy thing to have. This is microplane. I think they called it the Master Series. It had like wooden handles. I bought one like 8 years ago. I don't know if they still make these or not. I should oil that because it looks gray and shitty. I just like the way it looked on camera, but you can use any microplane you want. Cocktail Kingdom sells like a older style, like a retro style grater for nutmeg specifically. It's beautiful, and I'm sure it does a great job on nutmeg, but I think it's like $70 or $80. The thing about Cocktail Kingdom is that they have like a lot of historic recreations of cocktail implements. Usually David Wondrich partners with them, Dale DeGroff partners with them, and there's like a David Wondrich collection, there's a Dale DeGroff collection, there's a Jim Meehan collection. Some of that stuff gets pricey, and it's also beyond the basics. Like, unless you have other stuff, you really don't need to get into that. Another thing you might want is a channel knife. This is for making, and I haven't had one in a while, but this is for making nice sort of cuts like this for when you want a different kind of garnish, like a little streamer. If you're gonna take a drink and spray some oils into it, do this right next to the drink. Look at that. Look at how much oil is coming out of that just from the cut before I even get into squeezing. That will do it, okay? Thing about peelers and channel knives is you don't pull the knife, you hold the knife and you pull the fruit. That's what you should be doing. It works much better that way. Same thing with one of these. So these are, it's called Swiss peelers or swing top peelers, or I don't know, whatever you want to call them, vegetable peelers. These are the bartender's standard. The sideways one that you use for peeling carrots and cucumbers, you don't want to use those. These are both from Cocktail Kingdom. I'd been using Barfly ones. First off, these are made pretty cheap. The plastic ones are like $4 or $5. The stainless one was like 10 or 15 bucks. It's a little overkill, but I wanted to have a stainless one. Two factors I find with these. There's one I have in my kitchen that my wife bought. It is an OXO one. The gate, the opening of this blade on that is really shallow. So it tends to take this skin and split. Instead of getting all the way to the bottom of the skin, a little bit into the pith, it pulls a split through all of these chambers that contain all the orange oil, and it leaves you with a little less to spray. I don't really love that. It also puts a peel out that is got less texture, so there's like less kind of sculpting you can do with it. Typically these are very good about that. They cut a little bit deeper, but not too deep. And a lot of people say you don't want any pith because pith is bitterness. Whatever. I don't really have an issue with that, frankly. I haven't tested this one yet, but I bet it's just right. Oh yeah, look at that. It bites in and it cuts just the depth I want. Leaves a little pith on the back there and plenty more on the fruit, right? That's good, and we should be able to get, I mean, even though this is a tiny little strip, we should be able to get some kind of a spritz off of it. This particular stainless one I got from Cocktail Kingdom, I like it, I like the way it looks. I don't love it because watch what happens. This is the same thing. See how it's cut all, that's a peel I pulled. You can see those little circles. That's the vessels of oil that we wanted in our peel. So this one, it pulls, and if I push really hard, maybe it's a little better. Now, look, see, it split them. And it's very wet with oil on this side. Great if you're gonna dump it right into the drink. You're not gonna get as good a twist though. You're gonna get it, but not as good. And it's a much more flimsy little paper thin thing. In some degree, it looks more pretty. It's like more artful. I don't know, that's up to you to decide. It is soaking wet with oil. So if I throw that into a drink, it's gonna do plenty of oil depositing. What do you want? I don't know. They're both totally valid, I would say. It's just an issue of preference, really. I just think that in a lot of ways that's better. By the way, pull the fruit, right? I'm turning the fruit. I'm not pulling the knife. The knife is maybe a little bit I'm pulling the knife, but for the most part I'm pulling the fruit. The other issue with these, and I haven't yet had these long enough to test them, I'm hoping that they all look like they have the same blade, this black blade. These are carbon steel blades, typically. I've never seen one of these that has a stainless blade yet. I could be proven wrong about these two. Maybe these are stainless and they're coated or something. These will rust. Maybe don't even rinse them because orange oil won't rust them. If anything, oil will protect them. But if you throw them in the wash, they'll start to rust, they'll grime up, and they'll lose a little edge. Just something to consider. They're cheap, right? Like the black plastic ones are meant to be replaced on a semi-regular basis. You can probably get these blades from somewhere, but I have no idea where. It doesn't even occur to me. But yeah, those are probably gonna rust and get a little grimy. Maybe don't wash them in the dishwasher. Most of your bar tools really never needs to be washed. Bar tools, what they have in them, as long as they're stainless steel and non-porous, just rinse them out. They should be fine. Why do mine go in the wash sometimes? Because I don't live alone. And sometimes people pick up my stuff and put it in the washing machine when I don't want them to. One more thing I want to talk about spoons. You'll notice these spoons have these nice spirals, right? And I said that these spirals are to help you rotate the spoon for stirring. There's a style of bar spoon now that has no spirals on it. And actually, Cocktail Kingdom has fallen victim to selling one of these. I hate this. Although I'm able to do it right now, I'm working much harder. I don't like this style at all. I want the spiral very much. The other thing is that this bar spoon, the shaft is thicker and more heavy because it needs to be, because it would flex easier. This actually gives it a lot more structure, this spiral. I don't like these. I don't like these at all. These look very pretty on a bar cart from West Elm that nobody uses. It just sits up there and it looks like a nice photo shoot. I don't like these bar spoons at all. So there is this idea that you can put this through your drink and pour a liquid down it. Absolutely you can. It will ride right down there. It's a great way to get soda into the bottom of, say, a fizz, like a Ramos Gin Fizz. And that's usually what people use it for, is to ride their soda into the drink. It looks really cool too, if someone sees you doing it. I bet if you bent the head back, I've never tried this, and you did that with a liqueur, you could use it for layering pretty easily. That might be a good use for those ones that have the bendable heads. Somebody said that that was the purpose of it. That's what it was invented for. It's not, but it's a great thing that people discovered you could do with it. The purpose of it is that it looks cool, and back in the day, that's like what metal workers did. They twisted anything that was straight. This is called a mesh strainer. This one is Barfly. These are all basically fine. The Barfly ones, the Cocktail Kingdom one has a thinner handle. It's a little bit lighter. For what it's worth, I like it better. But basically, these are all going to be kind of interchangeable. Some people call it a tea strainer. It's a useful bar tool. If you're doing anything with like fruit pulp or muddling or leaves, like a basil martini or something, and you've muddled basil, this is not a good idea. You've muddled basil into something, you've shooken it up. This will filter all that out. You'll strain through this. The other thing is, like in some high-end bars that are also higher volume, they'll always use this because they'll use the almost open gate on a Hawthorne strainer and just kind of dump into this and shake this, and they'll get a faster pour so they can move on to the next customer. I don't know if that's like a tool that a basics bartending kit needs to have in it if you're starting out or building a kit for somebody as a gift. It's a nice thing to have, but you know, they are what they are. Like, it's just what it is. I should say too, Cocktail Kingdom has a like basics kit that they sell. I'll throw a link up there to it. Some of the Cocktail Kingdom stuff is available on Amazon, and where possible, I'll be using that because of affiliate linking and it being good for me. Some of the stuff is only available through Cocktail Kingdom. We'll still put you links to that. Don't worry about it. But they sell like a kit. I think it's like $100 or maybe $130. It includes a mixing glass, a shaker, a strainer, a spoon, and a jigger. Great place to start if someone's interested in mixology. All quality stuff. Mixing glasses for stirred drinks. Lovely things to have. This one is actually from Barfly. And I just bought these 3. Oh, that's a Barfly as well. These 2 are Cocktail Kingdom. Cocktail Kingdom used to have a line called Cocktail Kingdom Select. Really liked the glasses there. Unfortunately, they don't have it anymore. They were like cut crystal. They looked really good on camera. They were overkill for anybody else. I had one for years, and then somebody broke it. It was a production assistant. I'll never forgive her. And now they're not replaceable. I did get myself some new ones from Cocktail Kingdom specifically for this. I have a bunch of these Barfly ones sitting around because when we worked with them, they sent me a bunch. The Barfly mixing glasses are lovely. I really like their mixing glasses. I can't speak to every mixing glass they make, but I actually really like the Barfly mixing glasses. I hate metal mixing glasses. They sound bad, they look bad, they're gross. Also, metal is, because of the polishing and brushing, just less porous, more porous. Metal is always going to be slightly more porous than glass. If you can use glass, you should. This is the large or regular size mixing glass from Cocktail Kingdom. I think they're 500 milliliters. You can fit about 2 drinks in them. This is a regular size. This is a large size. It's probably 600 or 700 milliliters total. You could fit 2 drinks in there as well. I kind of prefer this size over this size, but they're all perfectly workable. What I don't want is sometimes you find a large mixing glass, I haven't seen this in a while, that is a wider mouth. A significantly wider mouth on your mixing glass sucks because it won't work with a julep strainer. It's going to be an issue. Cocktail Kingdom sells a range of mixing glasses at different price points. Some of them are seamless, some of them aren't. They'll say seamless. It means that there's no seam. Okay, it looks nicer. It doesn't bump your spoon as it rides around inside of it. The ones I have from Barfly happen to be seamless. The Barfly ones have these really heavy bases. Cocktail Kingdom ones mostly do. Barfly is almost overkill, honestly. There's some air bubbles in there in the glass now that I'm looking at it. Do I like that? Do I hate that? I don't know if I care. This cut is a Yarai pattern. It's a Japanese thing. This is called paddle. I actually really like the paddle pattern as well. It's like vertical slices. This is Yarai. There's also a pattern, I forget the name of it, but like it means hemp or something, and it's like Yarai plus other lines. And you can get chipped glass too. Those look really good if you can find them from someone. They're all good. They're all good. Look for one that's not extra wide at the top. Look for a nice pinched pour spout. Really give you very clean pouring. And don't use metal. All fine. I'll put links to the ones I love, but you know, they're good to have. These are some bitters bottles. You don't need those. They're just for show. Unless you're making your own bitters, you don't need them at all. I like them. I've had them forever. I have a bunch that I'm not using. I do find that the dash tops and the bitter bottle sometimes don't match. They're not the right size for each other. That happens at Cocktail Kingdom. That happens at Barfly. It's annoying, or it has happened. I can't say that it still happens. There's a Japanese style of bitters bottle that has a screw top. It won't happen with that. those do tend to throw a smaller dash than the cork style. I kind of like the cork style for that reason.
I actually really like those. Every time I turn over an Ango bottle, it shoots
the woozy
out first.
Yes.
And then you get it in, but you're always
That's true.
making a mess first. Those are, you have more control.
I 100% agree. So your bottles of bitters come with a top that's called a woozy top. It's like a little plastic hole. As you turn it over, it's always going to spray immediately. These give you a tremendous amount more control. Let's see if it proves me wrong today. As I turn it over, it will drip, but it doesn't spray across the room. The woozies always, they spray. And also this tends to open up more vertically than horizontally. So if it does come out, it comes out into what you're pouring it into as opposed to across the room. Cocktail Kingdom also sells something that they call a dash start, which is a screw top of those, and you can put it on just about anything. You can pop off the woozy on a bottle of Angostura and screw it on there. Pop off the woozies anyway, because like big pours of Angostura are wonderful, as I've shown you today. So I bought both of these from Cocktail Kingdom. These are Atomizers. They are two different kinds of atomizer, and I'm going to demonstrate how they work right now. This style of atomizer, something that like does not go into a basics of bartending kit, but if you know somebody who's already into that, or you are, and you want a tool that is kind of moving into slightly more advanced bartending, these are nice things to have. I actually don't use them that much. It doesn't come with a funnel apparently, so I'm going to use the nice pinched point on this mixing glass. So earlier, you saw me do an absinthe rinse on a drink. Nowadays, the more common approach is to do a spray. So instead of doing a rinse, which is kind of imprecise and kind of waste stuff, you can do a spray. There you go. There's your absinthe rinse. Delicious. A great way to do your absinthe or other similar things. This is the Morgenthaler, what does he call this thing? Triumph. This is the Morgenthaler Triumph Atomizer. You can get it from Cocktail Kingdom. It's a product carried over there. I think it came about because he was using these mistos to make Angostura flamethrowers for a cocktail. And that's, if I'm not mistaken, exactly what this is. And I'll show you how that works in a second. It is. One of the things that's really cool about this one, so if you have different ingredients in these, you can twist the outer shell to color code them. Or you don't twist it, you pop it off. So you can have a green, maybe that's your absinthe. Maybe you have a red for Angostura. Maybe you have a yellow for orange. And then, or maybe that's your orange. Yellow could be, I don't know, orange oil or something. So that's kind of cool. You get a few of them and have different colors. So you get your big bottle of Angostura and you take the woozy off and you pour some of that in there. And you bask in the wonderful aroma of Angostura bitters because it smells delicious. You take this guy and you screw it back in there. And again, like I said, it's a misto, right? So you take this guy and now you pressurize. Instead of having just a simple spritz, you pump up the air in there. That's pretty good. And now let's say I wanted to do my Ango spray. It's all pressurized. It just comes out like a can of WD-40. Why do you want that? Well, I've done this on the show a few times. Let's say you're doing a drink that calls for a flamethrower of Angostura bitters. Pretty cool, right? That's fun. It's a neat trick. Don't burn your eyebrows off. It's really nice on any drink that has like an egg white on the top because it'll sit across the top and leave that smoked stuff on it. If I'm not mistaken, he started using it, Morgenthaler, on a drink, and I forget the name of it, that involved some kind of marshmallow top, and he was toasting the marshmallows in Angostura fire. Ooh, that sounds good to me. That really covers all the basics in bartending. Glassware, what do you need for glassware? I don't know. I think that unless you know what somebody's looking for, let them figure it out for themselves. They probably want some kind of stemware. They probably want some kind of double old-fashioned. You can't really go wrong with those. Double old-fashioned glass, it's got a seam on it. I don't like it. Sometimes you get stuff on Amazon, it's called crystal, but it doesn't have nice sharp edges that reflect the light. It's all rounded off and polished and sanded. All of these straws came from Barfly. The Barfly straws come in many shapes and sizes. I'm not a big fan of these super thick straws. I don't actually have any of the real thin ones anymore within reach. They've just been kind of bleeding out of my life because I use them so often. They're really beautiful. They have a little spoon at the end, and actually Cocktail Kingdom doesn't even sell them with a spoon anymore. They do sell them very thin. I like a reusable straw. I think it looks classy. I think it feels classy. I think it's less wasteful. That's all great. I don't get too many comments from the weird coal rollers out there who love plastic straws anymore, but in case you're still out there, you're wrong. Like, I mean, if you want to use a plastic straw, that's fine, but there's a lot of alternatives to plastic straws. The paper straws suck. I'm not going to argue with you. They suck. The best alternative to the plastic straws I've seen are made of sugar. Every bar in Key West was using those. I love them. I wish that would catch on. They're very structural. They don't melt in the drink. They don't add sugar to the drink. These are actually made from bamboo fiber. They're great. They feel just like a plastic straw, but they're biodegradable. Or are they biodegradable or they're biodegradable? So I don't know about that. Biodegradable is not the same thing as compostable. I have a mental image of biodegradable, meaning I can put this in the dirt and it'll turn into worm food. Yeah, biodegradable actually involves like a very hot process to biodegrade something. So it might mean it's compostable, but I don't think it usually does. They're good, and they're not plastic at the very least. Although they do behave exactly like plastic. So, except for that, they will fracture if you crush them. And actually, the fact that they fracture like that makes me think that they might actually be compostable. The sugar ones have much more structure. I don't think you can crack one like that very easily. They're beefy. I went to a bar recently, and I don't know where they get them from. I want to get them. We were at the Canary Club down in like Tribeca. They use straw, like actual straw, which is what would have been used like, in the 1860s when cocktails were really taking off. That was great. Use more of that, just like natural fibers. I mean, I guess you could just buy straw, but like I grew up around some horses. Straw that like you find at a farm is not probably suitable for that. It's kind of chopped up and not really acceptable for that. And actually, yeah, straw, not hay. So I don't know, somebody out there is selling straw for drinking. I love that. I'll see if I can find a link to it and put it up here. They're great. They're not super structured, like you can crush them easy, but they're way better than the paper ones. They're not gonna fall apart like a paper one. I'm with you. The paper ones suck. They suck. Anything other though than plastic is great. I hate plastic. And I know that we're not saving all the turtles by not using them. We're decreasing demand for plastic straws so that there are fewer straws that are plastic on Earth. If demand decreases on those goods, the amount of them being made decreases. The value of making them, there's no profit in it at that point. So that's all the bar stuff that I really strongly endorse, that I think is great for your bar. If you're looking for stuff that I don't like for your bar, go to last year's anti-gift guide. I don't feel bad about buying any stuff. That anti-gift guide stuff, I feel like you're just like burning fucking oil to make this stuff and ship it around the world, and it's like, it's worthless garbage. It's just gonna wind up in the garbage in a landfill somewhere. I don't know, I don't wanna contribute to that practice. I don't like that practice. I like buy it for life. I don't like this endless consumerist shit. If it's a thing you need, if it's a thing that's good for you, that's fine. But let's try to concentrate on things that actually last and hold up. There is some other stuff for your bar that we're going to review. We're going to look at maybe some canned cocktails we've had lying around. Maybe those are good gifts. A few of them are. And also some other stuff. So stay with me. Right after this, we're going to get into those things. Here's something I'm almost 100% certain you don't need for your bar or in your life, whether it comes as a lamp or as something to put your feet in or anything. Oh, that's boring. They're lined with plastic. That's stupid.
Oh.
I want to take the liner out and try it out. So these are salt shot glasses. So I don't have any desire to have a tequila shot, but I guess the thing to do with this is to have a tequila shot. Oh, okay, we'll do two. We're gonna do tiny little shots.
Yeah, no.
A little taste. You want some lime with that?
Yeah.
Yes, you want some. I actually don't need any salt. Maybe this is gonna be awesome. Maybe I'm like, dude, saves a whole step. Meredith and I drink tequila shots. Let's go. Hand mined. Wow. How else was one gonna get the salt out of the ground except by hand? You think it's just like robots doing this shit?
Hand mined.
Typically you do the salt and then the lime.
Oh, it is salty. Oh, it's salty, yeah.
Yeah, it's a block of salt. I don't want that.
I don't hate it.
Take them home.
What do you do once you use them once?
Quickly rinse them out and then let them sit.
Let them sit.
They're gonna keep melting. Yeah, I love that. Pure Himalayan salt, except that the whole thing with Himalayan salt is that it's not pure. It's got, ingredients, it's got adulterants in it, so to speak. All right, here's another thing Meredith's been after me to do an episode on forever, to the point where she's kept acquiring these things, these infusion kits. We have them all over the place, and I kept telling her I don't want to do an episode on it, and they just kept, more and more of them just kept showing up. So here we go, and I guess you were saying what, that like...
I just see them absolutely everywhere, and actually pull out the ones that you get at the airport behind you. Those are even more ridiculous.
This is a carry-on cocktail daiquiri. Make cocktails anywhere, just add the white rum. Serves 3, so I guess if you're like, if you've got 3 people in the row with you on the airplane, that's fine. We'll try this today. I don't think this is any good. A Mai Tai? A tiki favorite made the traditional way. What? What kind of rum am I supposed to add to this? I guess probably just white rum, because they're assuming you're on an airplane, so what kind of rums are you gonna have?
So I think that's the idea, right? But like, look at the carry-on cocktail kit. Just tell me what the old-fashioned one.
This is $28.
$28.
This is a gin and tonic that makes how many drinks? There's 2 servings in here, so allegedly there's 2 cocktails, but that doesn't tell us how many cocktails there are. Wow, $28 for that. That's horse shit. Old fashioned. Don't get those for anybody unless you're wasting money and you know it's just a stupid gag. Cocktail box, the Mai Tai. This is we started infusing. This is $27 for this. I guess it's okay. It makes 8 to 16 drinks.
But you're adding the alcohol.
Well, that's true.
You're
Yeah.
dried fruit and all that.
It's $27 before we get into the drink. Holy shit.
So look at that's how it comes. The one next to it's how it comes.
It's called a Mountain Pass. Thyme, apple, orange bitters, infused, non-GMO, vegan sugar. What the fuck is vegan sugar? I'm just imagining, because like veganism, okay, look, it's not just animal parts in it, it's animal labor. But like, I don't think there's sugar mills powered by donkeys anymore. Like, I just don't think there are in your supply chain. I just don't think so. And honestly, if you're a humanist at all, it might be more humane than the way we make sugar. Well, try this thing out. I don't know. This is some weird stuff right here. I'm gonna try and strain it as best I can. Add 12 ounces of spirits, refrigerate, enjoy 8 to 16 drinks. Well, there's not 8 or 12 drinks in there. Maybe 8 or 12 1 ounce pours.
1 ounce pours, yeah.
But that's not a cocktail, it's a shot. Okay. That's better than I would think. It's really appley. I'm kind of impressed by that. I rate this a buy. This is actually pretty good. What kind of whiskey do you put in it?
Oh, I put Yellowstone in it because we got...
So, okay, here's a decent whiskey. There are some off notes in there. That first sip was a lie. It's got like a kind of funky staleness to it in a way. It's relatively balanced. It's sweet in the way an old fashioned is, so not super sweet at all, pretty spirit forward. It's wearing on me. I'm not loving it as much as I was before. There's a really strong herbal nose from like the thyme, is it? Is it thyme? I think it's thyme. Apple, orange bitters, infused, non-GMO, vegan sugar. You wanna try it, Mer?
Yeah, I think it's like trying to appeal to like people who are like camping or picnicking and you don't want to bring like a bottle and a bunch of, it's like you can have a cocktail without carrying
I
shit.
think it's appealing to Instagram girls who wear big felt hats.
Big felt hats.
Yeah, big floppy hats, Instagram girls.
That's exactly right, because they
Yeah.
look pretty on the shelf. You're like, oh, I know someone who likes cocktails.
I'm infusing a drink that'll be ready in a week, and it's got non-GMO vegan sugar in it. And I think that that's who it appeals to. So if you know somebody like that in your life, they will love you if you give them this. I'm certain of it. This one looks like pickled beet juice. So let's find out. I love pickled beets, by the way. If you give me some home pickled beets or pickled green beans for Christmas, we are going to be on good terms. What is this called? Florida. Orange, lime orange, pineapple, hibiscus calyx. I don't know what that means. Citrus infused, non-GMO sugar. Oh, I was talking about the spoons before. There's a fourth type. There are these double teardrop spoons now that have a teardrop at both ends for doing exactly what I'm doing, just stirring with the teardrop. They're handy if you're going to stir 2 drinks at once, which is a neat trick, or 3 drinks at once, which is a very neat trick. I don't really use them that much. I don't like them because the bar spoon is useful for measuring as well. So. And also then you can't crack ice with them effectively, as I've pointed out. Salud. I am less enthusiastic about this one. Hit or miss. I guess, I mean, they're so expensive. I can't justify the cost of this. They're so expensive. You could get somebody a lovely cocktail book, 2 of them for that. And the 2 that I most often recommend are Imbibe and Sippin' Safari by Beach Bum Berry is great for anybody who's into tiki. The Bar Book from Gene Meehan, like, yeah, there's some great cocktail books. Just get them a reprint of the old Savoy. The Savoy cocktail book is a staple. Since I'm talking about tiki, let's talk tiki. One of the great gifts for somebody who, and this is not a stocking stuffer, but for somebody who's into tiki in your life, are tiki mugs, and you might already know this. These things are dumb expensive. I don't mean that in a negative way. They are expensive. They're highly crafted individual items. Very few of them are mass-produced. If you want the cheaper mass-produced ones, Trader Vic's makes them. But there's like a few places. Tiki Farm is one that produces tiki mugs, and like they are all limited edition, slip molded, hand glazed tiki mugs, right? And it's like some of these tiki mugs can get like well over $100 for one mug. My wife got me these from Tiki Tony, who is a super cool dude. He's got a great Instagram. He makes all these Adventureland Disney things. I don't know if this was like an official Disney thing or not, but I got 2 of them. One is Jose and the other one is Rosita. I was always missing from the tiki room. They came with a little cocktail card. They're beautiful. They're beautiful. My only issue with this one is that it's very deep. Like, you need a monster straw to get to the bottom of it. We actually just bought, I'll put a link to them because they're offset and you don't need to see them, but they're meant for like shared drinks, I think, but they're like super long, flexible plastic straws. It's the one you're supposed to be able to reuse them, whatever. Cocktail Kingdom also sometimes sells like limited edition tiki mugs. I just picked up this one. They call it the Deep 6. Let's unbox it. I'm excited about it. Ooh, the deep six. It's like a barrel covered in skulls and stuff.
It's cool.
It's a shared drink. It's actually got notches there for multiple straws to hang out in. I'm actually pretty stoked on this thing. And it, honestly, compared to other Tiki Mugs, this was not tremendously expensive. I don't remember exactly what it was. I think it was 60 or 80 bucks. But it's pretty friggin' awesome, dude. The only thing that would make it better is if these skulls, since they have open eyes, were open in the back, and I could put something in them that would be on fire to have it come out of the eyes and stuff. That would be pretty neat. It's a beach bum berry thing. He's like the lord of the tiki drinks. I told you about how Cocktail Kingdom, they do like different sort of lines as partnerships with famous bartenders. Not me. Cocktail Kingdom, give me a call. But yeah, if you know anybody who's into tiki, Beach Bum Berry book and one of those is a great gift if you're interested in that kind of thing. Let's try, I gotta try it. Let's try the classic Mai Tai. Ingredients needed: rum, dark or white, only 45 milliliters, crushed ice, a cupful or 6 ice cubes, water, you need water apparently. Place crushed ice in the glass using your cocktail pick, skewer your desired garnish, okay, whatever, and place glass on a linen coaster and enjoy. Well, I'm not gonna use a linen coaster, but
I think they have one in there. I think that's why it says that.
No, they don't. Oh, they do. Uh-oh, something leaked in here. That's not a good sign. And I'm betting, what are these? Orange, these are orange bitters. More orange bitters in this tiny little... That seems like it should be filled with like a liquid solution of cocaine. I think I saw a movie about some girl down in the bayou when I was a child. I have vague memories of that. Oh my God. I'm gonna give this to my daughter. She can use it for her dolls. That's cute. That is cute. I guess I have to use it. I guess we have to use the kit as intended. This is a doll's spoon. What in the hell? And then it comes with 3 pretty standard stainless kit. Are these the same? No, they're a little bit bigger than the ones you get Altoids in. More people finding ways to repurpose Altoid tins. Okay, recycle that. A single linen cocktail coaster. Fine. Just because it was handy, we're gonna use Plantation 5, which is a great rum. By the way, if somebody likes rum in your life, Plantation 5 is a pretty good gift, and you can get it at drink.curiata.com, where all of the how to drink bottles are kept. This is a great rum. It's a great price. Okay, use a short cocktail glass. Okay, here's my short cocktail glass. Pour 45 milliliters of rum into a short cocktail. Add 1 pack of Mai Tai syrup. All right, I'll try. It has instructions on the back that say you should bend or fold. Oh, wow, okay. Well, that's pretty clever packaging, I'm not gonna lie. I actually really like the way that works as far as these little packets go. I kind of wish more packeted things came that way. I'm impressed. 5 dashes of these orange bitters. Get some water in there. I have some water here. This is the drinking water I keep behind set. Add crushed ice or ice cubes.
What about the lime juice? Was that it?
Oh yeah, I didn't see that. Oh, and the lime juice. Okay, sorry. Same idea. You snap it. Whoa! That one came out with force. I'm gonna crack the heck out of an ice cube. That's perfect for this. I'm gonna use their spoon. I just want to point out that this spoon is slightly larger than a cocktail pick. It says I have to use my favorite garnish and a pick. I don't think this garnish needs a pick, but what the heck. Let's just put a pick in it. This was the Cocktail Box Company Mai Tai. Whoa, that's bad. Oh my God. That tastes like something toxic. That tastes like it tastes like a car fire. I was gonna say house fire, but that doesn't. That tastes like foam seats on fire. It's not a very pronounced flavor at all, but the flavor that is there is not good. Strongly do not recommend that. Buy that for somebody you hate. My God.
It's also a $35 cocktail.
Oh wait, I forgot. Maybe this fixes it. It's got some weird late arriving flavor notes like cherry and stuff. No, that first note is burning rubber. It does not get any better when it's on the linen. I am throwing all of the rest of this in the garbage, except for the spoon, which I will give to my daughter for toys. Actually though, I don't know, I feel a little weird. Well, she can have it, but you know, this spoon is it's a Coke spoon. Canned or boxed cocktails don't have to be bad. And this brand right here, Post and Meridiem, they have actually really pleased me in the past. I actually like them. I like their cute little cans. Each one is a great little cocktail in there. These are great, and actually I could see these being a very nice gift for somebody who's into mixology or not yet into mixology, just likes cocktails or something like that, or doesn't like beer. I don't know, like these are cool. Party favor kind of thing too. What I don't have on set, just because we didn't get it in time, is anything by Crafthouse Cocktails. We randomly had a box of their pineapple daiquiri that I expected to be garbage, and it blew me away.
That stuff upstairs from them?
No.
Totally forgot about that.
Here's what happened. They saw that and they said, wow, Greg, thanks. And then they sent me little bottles of their entire Crafthouse line, and I drank them all. So I don't have them for camera. They're really good. But yeah, Crafthouse canned cocktails are great. Boxed cocktails from them are great. I have not found anybody else. Post Meridiem, also very great. But as far as the box cocktail goes, I haven't found anybody else that I like. And actually, I could use a little espresso, so let's try their espresso martini right now. What does it say I'm supposed to do? Do I just pour it over ice?
Pour it over ice, yeah.
Hell yeah, man. That's the kind of simplicity I need in my life. There's a Post Meridiem set of canned cocktails available at Curiata. Oh, that smells like coffee. That is a lovely smell. It's funny, I'm looking at this, I'm thinking I might want to add a little splash of cream to it, but that's okay. So this is the thing I do. I'll put a finger on the side of the glass and feel for it to get nice and cold. If you have a very thick piece of glass, that won't really be very useful, but these are pretty thin. Cheers. That's wonderful. That's it. Ooh, that's good. Cold brew coffee, vodka, coffee liqueur. I love that. That's great. You know, it's a kind of easy drink to make, but it's also wonderful to have these ready to go when you're feeling lazy. Yeah, that's great to have something that's just stupid easy. I love it. That's really good. One of the things I like about canned cocktails is that they sometimes tell you the exact alcohol content of the canned cocktail. I don't always know what it is when I'm mixing my own drinks. This is London Dry Gin, lime juice, and it's 100% real lime juice, non-pasteurized, non-anything. Cane simple, hint of mint. Now, the thing of that is that the mint is pretty strong right now, and I do find that canned mint syrups, they don't tend to be ideal. So this might be a rare miss for the Meridiem cocktails. Post Meridiem. By the way, Post Meridiem, do you know what that means? Because I had to look it up. I felt like a dummy. PM. Afternoon.
Oh.
Post Meridiem, the Meridiem of the day. I like it. It would be better with fresh mint, but I do like it. It's eminently drinkable and recognizable as mint, and it gets better as I'm going. I don't know. I may recant. I mean, I don't doubt that it would be better with fresh mint, but I don't think it's bad. I rate that a buy. It's not simulating. It's just that mint is extremely volatile. Fresh mint cannot be replicated.
That's a tall task.
It's very good though. It's very close.
Okay, yeah, I got a full minty nose.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
A lot of people talk about making a mint syrup. I don't know how to do that. I've tried. I thought it must be dead simple. Mint syrup, because you're cooking the mint, it super oxidizes, and the stuff that comes out of that is just skunky. You know what might be the way to do it, but it would take a really long time, would be to make a 2-to-1 simple and then pour it into a jar that's just packed with mint and leave it there for a week to slowly leach mint out of it. I should try that. That's probably the way to do it, but low temperature, no heat whatsoever. That would probably make a good mint syrup. I'll try that. There's one other thing that I think is a bar necessity, but it's not a very sexy gift or even thing to buy for yourself, but it's dirt cheap. This is a wine bottle brush. You can buy 3 of them for $12, and this one's actually starting to get loose at the handle. It won't come loose, which is for washing the inside of glasses. It has a thicker handle and stiffer brushes, and you can't get it inside of a wine bottle. You can buy these. We'll put a link to them. You can buy a case of these. These are 750 milliliter, wine bottles. They don't have a screw top. You don't need a screw top. These little silicone corks I've had for 8 years, and they're phenomenal. They look great. They're easy to wash. But between syrups, between infusions, you got to wash the inside of this. This will actually get down the neck, and I put a curve in it. I always take them and bend a little curve in it so I can really scrub around in there. And I just throw some soap and boiling water and scrub the hell out of it and make sure I scrape it all up. That curve also, you can get right around the neck where it just opens up. That's good. The cleaner these are, the longer your syrups are going to last. That's just a promise I make you. Whenever somebody says, Greg, I made a 2-to-1 simple and it grew mold. Well, 1, I find that hard to believe. But 2, if it grew mold, it's because you didn't clean it enough, right? I think it takes quite a long time in boiling water to use boiling water to make these disinfected. It's 10 minutes or something. You could do that. Boiling water plus soap plus scrubbing does a very fine job. If you buy them for a gift for somebody because they don't know that these are a thing, wine bottle brushes, not bottle brushes, they might be confused. They might be like, great, thanks. But if you're starting a home bar, I think this is an absolutely vital piece of kit. There's cocktail smokers. Why don't we talk about cocktail smokers? Thanks to this, I have the power to do a smoked cocktail test. So there's a lot of different ways to smoke a cocktail, right? And we're gonna use my mixing glasses for the purposes of this examination. So let me bust out some smokers. This is the original smoking gun. This thing is, you can see the box is pretty ancient. This was made by Polyscience, and then Polyscience got bought by Breville, so now it's made by Breville. This is really overkill for cocktails. At the time that I bought this, this was kind of the only game in town. It comes with, I don't know if it still does, to be perfectly honest, this like little stand. You can put the handle in there. It uses a couple batteries. This one is dead. You put this hose here, pack your bowl with wood, and then you light it up with a match or whatever, turn on the blower, sucks air through it, and this hose will direct smoke wherever you want. What this is really for, it was made for cooking, culinary purposes. Let's say you're poaching some cuts of salmon in white wine with a little thyme and sage and some lemon slices, and you've got it all perfect. You take the pan, you open the lid, you stick this hose in there, and then you put a smoke into the pan with it. I've never used it for that, but I'm gonna try it. Or sticking the hose into the door of your oven to smoke inside your oven. It produces a cold smoke that's safe to use indoors. It's for smoking food. Did we use it for cocktails once upon a time? Absolutely, absolutely, we did, we all did. It can be done in a way that's really presentational. You know, I have this like glass dome that I hook this up to, and I fill the dome with smoke, and I pull the dome off, and it looks really cool. It's super duper overkill for what we do here. This is the same exact product. It's the Homia. I think probably the patent wore out on that because it's identical, right? It's like, it might look different, but it's exactly the same mechanism. The way this thing works is, let's say you've got a drink vessel, you put some wood chips up here into the top, and you can get wood chips cheap. These are cherry wood chips. Now I want to point out, this is extremely overkill. This is a torch. You really should just be using something very simple, like a match is all you need. You turn on the blower, you light your wood chips, and then there it is. It's producing smoke. You can see it beautifully. And we can smoke things, and smells like cherry smoke, right? Usually you want to trap it. You want to trap it with your cocktail somehow, and this will keep burning because it's drawing air, and then this one uses a trigger instead of a switch. Basically the exact same product as the Breville one. And now you've got a smoked cocktail. The thing of it is, I've never really been satisfied with how these gun-style smokers manage to smoke a cocktail. I don't think that this is the right way to smoke a cocktail. It's a fun way, it's a presentational way. I just don't think it actually does a good job of smoking it. The other thing about that I noticed over the Breville has a nicer battery case, okay? It does look cool, the smoke is gonna hang out in there, right? The very basic way to smoke a cocktail, and I'm gonna try it with this, I've never tried that, is to take something that won't burn, or maybe a plank of cedar if you want such a thing. Get all this stuff burning, yeah, there we go. And then trap that, and look at that. Now, if you do that in the drink that the glass that you're gonna serve it in, you're gonna leave a residue of smoke on the inside of that glass that is way beyond what you're gonna get by just vaporously smoking the drink, although this looks very cool. And you do still get a kind of a nice effect when you turn it over. That's a much better way to smoke a drink. You can use wood, you can use fresh rosemary, as I have done with a rosemary gin and tonic, which is a wonderful use case for a smoked cocktail. Frankly, beyond that, I'm not super keen on smoked cocktails anymore. They were a really neat trick once upon a time. And these are little slates. They're perfect for burning things on if you ever need to. Nowadays, there are, from any number of little companies, these guys. And all this is a wooden thing with some holes in it and a little screen, and you can put it on top of anything, a glass or a mixing jar, whatever you want. And you can take some wood chips, or apparently also some dried fruits, which is a neat idea, and you put them into the little screen here, and then you take a kitchen torch. In this case, you do probably need a kitchen torch, and you burn it. It will pump smoke right down into the vessel, and it looks really cool as it descends into it, to be perfectly honest. It will trap it, and when you want to turn it off, cut off its air supply, and now you've got a drink that's full of smoke. And you can do that right before serving, and if your drink is nice and cold, the smoke will linger on the ice and you don't need batteries. A kitchen torch is a useful thing. You might already have one. It's not a bad thing to have anyway. And these are cheap. When I'm telling you they're cheap, I mean, like, we'll put a link to the cheapest one we can find. They're dirt cheap, you know. The screen will prevent you from burning the wood, which looks like olive or maybe acacia. And it does the job, right? It does the job really well. So I don't think that there's any reason not to use them. There's actually, there's actually some droplets here of spray, like liquid smoke that hit the glass and condensed. These did not exist a few years ago until smoked cocktails became a thing that people even did. Nobody was gonna bother to make these, right? So anyway, another good thing for yourself as a gift or for gift for others are cocktail syrups. I do think that a lot of the best syrups are gonna be ones you make yourself. It's a little complicated to make an orgeat. Grenadine is dead simple. You can make your own grenadine. Simple syrup is simple. That's why it's called simple syrup. In fact, if you wanna spend no or very little money on a gift for the budding mixologist in your life, check out my video on how to make syrups. Make them some nice syrups. They will love you for it. Do not buy simple syrup, okay? It's 2 parts sugar, 1 part water. Honestly, I think it works fine either by volume or weight, but I always do it by weight. Watch the transformation happen because it'll go from cloudy to clear. That's how you know it's truly dissolved. Let it cool and bottle. This is Small Hand Foods orgeat. It is the only commercially available orgeat I've seen that is cloudy, that has the fat left in it from the almonds. Orgeat is an almond syrup. Every other one I've seen is clarified. They take out the almond fat. Why would you take that out? That's part of the flavor package. I like it in there. My orgeat recipe will yield an orgeat very similar to this one. This is great, fantastic orgeat. Another company that makes actually really good syrups is Cocktail & Sons, and they make the best fashionola. They make it once a year. It's in limited supplies. Last time it came up, I bought 5 or 10 bottles for myself, whatever was the maximum allowable, because I never wanted to have to deal with it again. So I got my lifetime supply of fashionola syrup, which is a pain to make yourself because it needs a lot of ingredients, but let them make it. They do a great job with it. They just happened to send me this. This is their 12 Days of Cocktails Advent Calendar. Thank you, Cocktail & Sons. And I'm going to cheat a little bit and skip around. A little recipe book. And they make so many syrups. There's 12 different syrups for 12 different cocktails. Let's see what we just got here. This is cucumber lemon basil. A great syrup to learn how to make yourself, but as a gift to yourself or others, what a wonderful thing. Check them out. Oh yeah, there's a recipe for every syrup in here. It's a great little thing to have. We will definitely be putting a link to Cocktail & Sons up there in the pinned comment, or we'll put it in the pinned comment. We'll put it up in the corner if we can. Yeah, syrups are a fantastic gift for yourself or for another budding mixologist that you know. One thing I can't strongly recommend is one of these Bartop Barrels. We have this left over from when I did some D&D drinks. I love that episode. It was a fun episode. This Bartop Barrel, you'll notice the hoops are coming off of it. It's been bone dry for months, for years, and that means that it shrank and it's no longer watertight. I would have to soak this for months to really put this thing back into use. There is a trend of doing aged cocktails, you know, filling this up with a Manhattan and letting it sit on the bar. It's a very neat idea. Not every cocktail wants to be aged. The bottle of bourbon that you bought, it's been aged. Somebody figured it out, they aged it enough. It doesn't need more aging. And these small barrels, they age very fast because of the ratio of surface area to volume, right? A big barrel takes years. These do the same amount of aging in like weeks. So if you put a Manhattan in this, if you put, martini in it, you put an old fashioned in this, it's gonna transform very rapidly over the next 3 to 6 weeks, right? And every day is gonna be a little bit different. Personally, I don't think cocktails need aging. I'm just not big on it. It's a fun gift. Somebody might want it. Usually you can get like something laser etched, a name or a logo on this side. Is it really useful? Not really, honestly. Like, they're not the most useful things. They're just fun little novelties. I don't really recommend it as a gift. That's all. Anyway, that's the show today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was useful to you, talking about bar basics today. There's always new stuff. Gifts for the budding mixologist in your life, cocktail enthusiast for yourself, whatever. Talking about the stuff that you might want to have or you might want to give to somebody in your bar. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Greg. This is How to Drink, the show about making cocktails and how to drink them. And I will see you soon with another episode. Until then, you'll find me on all the social media places. I love you. I hope that you love me. Leave a comment. Don't leave a comment. Subscribe. Whatever. If it's the holidays right now, have a great one. If it's the holidays and a year of Armageddon, sorry. Here are other episodes and things of how to drink. You could subscribe, you could watch other episodes because I've been making the show for 7 years, and I will see you soon with another episode of HTD. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I hope this episode was of use to you. A lot of people like to chart me getting sober to drunk by the end of the episode. It happened. I'm fairly drunk. It only takes me 2 drinks. I'm a wimp. Good night, good luck, goodbye.